The cold metal of the abandoned mining station pressed against Arya Kang's wounded side. Darkness surrounded her, broken only by the faint flickering of emergency lights that cast long shadows across the empty corridor. Her breath came in short, ragged gasps, each exhale a testament to her desperate struggle for survival. Just 3 solar cycles ago, she had been a respected intelligence officer in the Stellar Confederation, her career promising and her future bright. Now she was nothing more than a discarded piece of information, thrown away like broken equipment after uncovering a truth that powerful people wanted to remain hidden. The corruption ran deep, deeper than anyone could imagine. Arya had discovered financial trails connecting high-ranking officials to illegal resource trafficking across multiple star systems. When she tried to report her findings, she became the target. Her own people turned against her, orchestrating a careful plan to silence her forever. Her communication device lay broken beside her, its fractured screen a reminder of the violent confrontation that left her stranded. The mining station, once a bustling hub of interstellar resource extraction, now stood as a silent tomb. Dust-covered equipment and abandoned workstations told stories of sudden departure and forgotten dreams. Oxygen levels were critically low. Her alien physiology gave her a slight advantage. She could survive in conditions that would kill most carbon-based life forms, but even her biological adaptations had limits. The wound on her side, a plasma burn from the initial attack, continued to pulse with a dull, persistent pain. Memories flashed through her mind. The moment she first uncovered the documentation, the secret meetings, the whispered conversations she was never meant to hear. Each recollection was a knife edge of betrayal, cutting deeper than any physical wound. Her people, the Confederation, prided themselves on their advanced technological society. They spoke of honor, of justice, of maintaining galactic peace. But Arya knew the truth now. Behind the gleaming starships and diplomatic protocols, a rot existed, a corruption that consumed everything it touched. She checked her environmental suit's remaining power. 12%. 12% stood between her and certain death. The station's emergency systems had long since failed, leaving her in near total darkness. Only occasional sparks from damaged electrical conduits provided momentary illumination. Outside, the station's reinforced windows, the asteroid field drifted silently. Massive rocks tumbled through the endless void, indifferent to her struggle. Each boulder was a potential tomb, each shadow a reminder of her isolation. Arya's training kicked in. She began methodically checking her remaining equipment. A small medical kit, a data chip containing her evidence, a multi-tool that could potentially repair communication systems. Small resources, but sometimes small resources meant survival. Her species had a saying, "Hope is the breath between survival and surrender." Right now, that breath felt incredibly thin. The station creaked and groaned, metal expanding and contracting in the extreme temperature variations. Each sound was a potential threat, each shadow a possible enemy. Arya remained alert, her senses heightened by desperation and training. She thought about her family, about the colleagues who had turned their backs on her, about the truth that burned inside her data chip, evidence that could change everything if it ever reached the right hands. Hours passed. Her breathing became more labored. The wound on her side continued to pulse, a constant reminder of her vulnerability. Survival was no longer a guarantee but a moment-to-moment negotiation with fate. As system after system in her environmental suit began to fail, Arya made a decision. She would not die quietly. She would not disappear without leaving a mark. The data chip remained secure, a potential weapon more dangerous than any physical weapon. The last emergency light flickered and died, plunging her into complete darkness. Oxygen levels dropped. Temperature began to fall. In this moment, suspended between life and death, Arya Kang waited, hoped, survived. Little did she know, light years away, a human rescue vessel was about to change everything. The rescue vessel's sensors hummed with precision, scanning the vast darkness of the asteroid field. Captain David Park leaned forward, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display. Something was different about this sector. A faint energy signature that didn't match typical stellar background radiation. "Michael, run another scan," David commanded, his voice calm but focused. Michael Lee's fingers danced across the control panel. Years of deep space exploration had taught them to trust the smallest of anomalies. The ship's advanced detection systems could pick up the faintest whisper of life in the cold vacuum of space. "Got something," Michael reported. "Weak life signs, barely registering." The mining station appeared on their visual display, a massive structure slowly rotating against the backdrop of tumbling asteroids, abandoned, forgotten, but not empty. Emily Kim, the ship's medical officer, prepared the emergency extraction kit. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, checking oxygen tanks, medical scanners, and emergency resuscitation equipment. Years of rescue missions had taught her that every second counted. David studied the station's schematics. It was a confederation. Design, sleek, efficient, but clearly old. Abandoned mining stations were common in this sector, often left behind when resources dried up or political situations changed. But something about this one felt different. "Prepare the extraction pod," David ordered. "Michael, keep scanning. Emily, get ready for potential medical emergency." The rescue pod detached from the main vessel, its powerful thrusters cutting through the silent void. Precision guidance systems navigated through the treacherous asteroid field, each movement calculated to within millimeters. Inside the station, Arya Kang heard nothing. Her consciousness flickered between awareness and darkness. The last of her oxygen was nearly depleted. Her body, designed to survive extreme conditions, was reaching its absolute limit. The rescue pod's external lights illuminated the station's damaged exterior, scorch marks, impact points, signs of a violent encounter that had left the structure critically damaged. Michael's voice crackled through the communication system. "Life signs are fragile. Whatever is in there won't last much longer." David's hand moved instinctively, guiding the pod through a damaged airlock. Years of experience had taught him to read between the lines of sensor data. This wasn't a routine rescue. Something unusual was happening. The pod's mechanical arms began cutting through the damaged airlock. Precision laser cutters worked silently, methodically creating an entry point. Inside, Arya remained motionless, her alien physiology barely maintaining the thin line between life and death. Emily monitored the vital sign readings. "Whoever this is, they're not human. Biological markers are completely different from our standard databases." David understood the implications. An alien rescue, not a common occurrence in their line of work. The airlock gave way. Cool, sterile air from the rescue pod began filling the station's corridor. Specialized scanning equipment swept the area, checking for potential biological or chemical threats. Michael's voice held a hint of excitement. "Visual confirmation. Definitely a life form. Looks like an alien, but severely wounded." The rescue pod's internal systems began stabilization protocols. Specialized medical equipment extended, preparing to assess and treat the unknown life form. Arya's eyes flickered. Darkness. Light. Darkness again. Voices seemed distant, almost like a dream. Was this the end, or something else? David's voice cut through her fading consciousness. "We've got you," he said, though he knew she likely couldn't understand. "You're safe now." The rescue team worked with practiced efficiency. Emily began initial medical protocols, her scanners revealing the complex biology of their unexpected passenger. The data chip, Arya's crucial piece of evidence, remained secure, unnoticed but potentially world-changing. As they prepared to return to their main vessel, none of them knew the true significance of their rescue. A single act of compassion was about to change everything. The rescue pod detached, carrying its mysterious passenger through the silent asteroid field. Another mission. Another life saved. Just another day in deep space exploration. But this was no ordinary rescue. This was the beginning of something much larger. The medical bay hummed with soft electronic sounds. Arya Kang's eyes slowly opened, her alien physiology recovering faster than any human would. David Park stood nearby, watching her carefully. "You're safe," he said simply. Emily Kim had spent hours analyzing Arya's biological data. Her body was unlike anything they had ever encountered. Complex cellular structures that could adapt to extreme conditions, a respiratory system that functioned differently from carbon-based life forms. The data chip Arya carried became the center of attention. When Michael Lee first inserted it into their computer system, the information shocked everyone. Layers of encrypted data revealed a massive corruption network that spread across multiple star systems. "This goes deeper than we thought," Michael muttered, scrolling through complex financial trails and communication logs. Arya understood their language better than they realized. Her species had advanced translation technologies that allowed rapid comprehension. She watched the human crew work, noting their collaborative approach, something entirely different from her own military-structured society. David approached her cautiously. "Can you tell us more about what you discovered?" Her story unfolded, in fragments. The Stellar Confederation's highest-ranking officials were involved in massive resource trafficking. Entire planetary systems were being exploited. Billions of credits were changing hands through complex, untraceable transactions. The human crew listened intently. Each piece of information was a potential weapon against a corrupt system. "Why did you risk everything?" Emily asked, her medical scanner still tracking Arya's recovery. Arya's response was simple but powerful. "Because someone must stand against injustice." Michael began mapping the corruption network. Holographic displays showed interconnected lines of criminal activity, each connection more complex than the last. The Stellar Confederation's corruption wasn't just a small problem. It was a systematic breakdown of galactic governance. Days passed. Arya became more than just a rescued alien. She became a crucial partner in their mission. Her insider knowledge combined perfectly with the human team's strategic thinking. The ship became a war room. Star charts, communication logs, financial records. Everything was analyzed, cross-referenced, prepared for potential exposure of the massive conspiracy. David recognized the risk. "If we move forward, there's no turning back," he warned the team. Arya understood completely. She had already lost everything by choosing to expose the truth. The humans were now risking their own lives and careers. "We have one chance," Michael explained, pointing at a complex network diagram. "One moment to break this wide open." Their plan took shape. They would use Arya's insider information to create a comprehensive evidence package. Multiple communication channels would be used simultaneously, making it impossible for the Confederation to suppress the information. Emily prepared communication encryption protocols. Michael developed backup data transmission systems. David plotted their potential escape routes. Arya provided critical insider knowledge about Confederation communication protocols. The team worked like a single organism, human and alien, working together with a singular purpose. Trust developed naturally, born from shared mission and mutual respect. Late one night, as most of the crew slept, Arya found David reviewing the final mission plans. "Why do humans help?" she asked. "What drives you to risk everything?" David's response was simple: "Because it's right." Those three words encapsulated something fundamental about human nature: a willingness to fight for justice, regardless of personal cost. The mission's complexity grew with each passing hour. They weren't just exposing corruption. They were challenging an entire system of galactic governance. The stakes could not be higher. Arya realized something profound. These humans were different. They fought not for personal gain, but for a principle larger than themselves. As final preparations were completed, a sense of anticipation filled the ship. One moment, one chance to change everything. The countdown began. The communication array hummed with silent tension. Michael Lee's fingers moved, like lightning across multiple control panels, preparing their critical transmission. Outside the ship's reinforced windows, the asteroid field drifted, a perfect cover for their most dangerous mission. Arya Kang stood beside David Park, her alien features reflecting a mix of determination and fear. They had one chance, one moment, to expose the entire Stellar Confederation's corrupt network. Transmission window opens in 3 minutes, Michael announced, his voice steady despite the massive risk. The plan was simple but dangerous. They would broadcast the evidence simultaneously across multiple communication channels. Encrypted data packages would hit every major communication hub in the sector. Once released, the information could not be stopped. David checked their escape route. Multiple jump coordinates were pre-programmed. If something went wrong, they needed to vanish instantly. Arya's data chip contained the core evidence: financial records, communication logs, detailed proof of systematic corruption that reached the highest levels of her government. Years of careful documentation, now compressed into a single digital weapon. Confederation tracking systems would activate the moment the transmission began. They would hunt the source relentlessly. Discovery meant certain death for everyone involved. "Are you ready?" David asked Arya. She nodded. Her entire life had led to this moment. Betrayal by her own people, rescue by humans, a journey of complete transformation. Michael's countdown began. 60 seconds to transmission. Emily Kim monitored. External sensors. Any unexpected signal could compromise their entire mission. Her hands moved across advanced scanning equipment, checking and rechecking every possible threat. 30 seconds, Michael called. The ship's systems prepared. Communication. Arrays aligned. Encryption protocols activated. Each system worked in perfect synchronization. Arya's hand touched the data chip. This small piece of technology represented everything she had lost: her career, her reputation, her entire previous life. 10 seconds, Michael said. Sudden alarms erupted. Confederation tracking signals had detected their preliminary transmission preparations. "They know," David shouted. "Initiate immediate broadcast." Michael's fingers struck the final command. Millions of encrypted data packages exploded across communication networks. Financial records, communication logs, proof of systematic corruption. The Confederation's communication systems began to crash. Information flooded every channel faster than they could block it. Tracking signals locked onto their position. Multiple warships appeared on their scanner. Fast, deadly, closing quickly. "Jump sequence activated," Michael yelled. The ship's faster-than-light drive began charging. Each second became a battle between survival and exposure. Confederation warships opened fire. Energy weapons cut through the asteroid field, searching for their tiny vessel. David's hands moved across navigation controls. "Hang on!" he shouted. The ship shuddered. Multiple system warnings flashed. Hull integrity was dropping. Their escape window was closing. Arya remained calm. Her hand remained on the data chip, their most important weapon. Michael continued broadcasting. Even as weapons struck their shields, the information continued spreading across the galaxy. "Jump in 3, 2, 1. Michael counted. The universe outside transformed. Stars stretched into light streams. The Confederation warships vanished. They had done it. The information was out. There was no turning back. Silence filled the ship's bridge. They had just changed everything. "We're alive," Emily whispered. David looked at Arya. She looked back. No words were necessary. They had crossed a line together, humans and alien, united by a single purpose. The mission was complete. The truth was free. The communication networks burned with revelation. Every galactic news channel showed the same information. The complete exposure of the Stellar Confederation's massive corruption network. Billions of beings across multiple star systems watched in shock. Arya Kang stood beside David Park, watching the transmissions. Her entire world had transformed in just a few weeks. From a condemned intelligence officer to a galactic whistleblower, her journey seemed impossible. Michael Lee monitored the global response. Governments were collapsing, political leaders were being arrested. The system they had exposed was crumbling faster than anyone predicted. "We changed everything," David said quietly. Arya understood the weight of their actions. Her people would consider her a traitor. The humans would be branded as dangerous insurgents. But truth had become more important than safety. Their ship drifted in a remote sector, hidden from potential retaliation. Each crew member knew the risks they had taken. Emily Kim continued monitoring Arya's health, fascinated by her alien biology's rapid adaptation. Communication records showed massive investigations launching across multiple planetary systems. The evidence they released was comprehensive. No government could ignore or suppress it. "What happens now?" Arya asked David. He smiled. A human gesture that meant hope, understanding, something beyond simple words. The Stellar Confederation's communication channels collapsed, years of secret dealings exposed in moments. Entire political structures were being dismantled. Leaders who thought themselves untouchable now faced complete public exposure. Arya's data chip contained more than just financial records. It revealed complex networks of exploitation, resource theft, and systematic oppression across multiple alien civilizations. Michael's communication tracking showed something unexpected. Other oppressed groups were using their exposure strategy. Small resistance movements were now broadcasting their own evidence inspired by what the crew had accomplished. "We started something bigger than ourselves," Emily observed. David understood. Their mission was never just about exposing corruption. It was about showing that resistance was possible, that truth could overcome powerful systems. Arya's perspective had completely changed. Her previous understanding of loyalty, of survival, had been rewritten. The humans had shown her a different way of existing, a commitment to principle over personal safety. The ship's communication systems continued receiving global responses, messages of support, messages of hope. A galactic transformation was happening in real time. "We can't go back," David told the crew. "Our lives are different now." Arya looked at the humans who had saved her, rescued her, supported her mission. They were more than allies now. They were something deeper, a chosen family. Michael prepared new communication encryption protocols. They knew potential retaliation was possible. Their exposure had created powerful enemies. Emily continued monitoring Arya's health. Her alien physiology fascinated the medical team. Each scan revealed complex biological adaptations they had never seen. The ship became their sanctuary, a mobile base of resistance, a symbol of what was possible when different species worked together. Arya's data chip had become more than technology. It was a weapon of truth, a tool that could reshape entire civilizations. Days passed. The galactic response continued. Governments fell. New leadership emerged. The systems of corruption were being systematically dismantled. "We started something," David said, looking at Arya. She understood completely. Their mission was about more than exposure. It was about showing that resistance was possible, that truth could overcome powerful systems. The humans had given her more than rescue. They had shown her a new way of understanding existence, a commitment to principle, a belief that individual actions could create massive change. As their ship drifted silently through the asteroid field, they knew their journey was far from over. They had exposed the truth. Now they would protect it. A new chapter was beginning. For Arya, for the humans, for the entire galaxy.